The story that came out in the Washington Post December 26, 2017. Now, I already did a story on how the life expectancy in the US has dropped 2 consecutive years in a row due to all of the drug overdosing going on in the country. And people just feel as if this White House has not done enough, you know. And of course, Trump going back on declaring the drug plague as a national emergency. We now know it's a public health emergency, and there'll be no new money going into this epidemic, which means it's virtually impossible to fight it without having enough funding to help the people. So, America's opioid plague saps life expectancy while the White House sleepwalks. And you can see there's someone on the ground, and that is becoming way too often in this country. First responders revive a 32-year-old man who was found unresponsive after an opioid overdose. In almost every developed country, life expectancy at birth has trended predictably and steadily upward for decades, with slight hiccups from time to time, usually lasting a year and often triggered by major epidemics. The United States, in the grip of an escalating opioid addiction and overdose crisis, has now recorded its second straight year of declining life expectancy, a nearly unheard of event for a rich Western nation and its first such downturn in nearly 60 years. Yeah, because usually when you're in a rich nation, your life expectancy issues are pretty diminished compared to a poor third world country. That should be a wake up call for the Trump administration, which has talked a fine game about the opioid epidemic, but done too little to address it. A far greater sense of urgency is needed to address what has become one of the gravest public health threats to the United States in living memory. On December 21st, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention reported that life expectancy in 2016 fell to 78.6 years, a second consecutive and statistically significant annual decline of a tenth of a year. The back to back drops coincided with an average annual increase in opioid related overdose deaths of about 20% and a staggering 1 year surge in 2016, which 42,249 people, an official tally that may understate the real scope of the problem by thousands, died of that cause. More bad news. Early signs are that drug related deaths continued to climb in 2017. Yeah, they're projecting, I've heard anywhere from 72,000 to 74,000. And those are only the 22 states that report to the CDC. So remember, when they give you these numbers, you are not getting all 50 states, just 22 states, which could contribute to a third straight year of falling life expectancy, something that hasn't happened since the Spanish flu swept through the country a century ago. Wow. It would be a mistake to see the fall in life expectancy as a part of broad decline in American public health. Infant mortality continues to drop, and death rates from heart disease, cancer, flu, diabetes, kidney disease, and other causes are mainly flat or failing. Rather, the main culprits are known as diseases of despair, especially a drug overdose and suicide. And the main victims are men, especially working class young and middle aged men, for whom the overdose rate is twice that of women. Mindful of the soaring toll, Trump appointed a presidential commission on combating drug addiction and the opioid plague, which recommended last summer that the president declare a national emergency as he has pledged to do. That would have freed up funding from the National Disaster Relief Fund. Yeah, but see, natural disaster, that's more like your weather related, your landslides, your hurricanes, you know your earthquakes, that type of thing, not drugs. Instead, in October, he declared a public health emergency, a lesser designation, and one that has not unlocked game changing amounts of federal dollars. He can't if he unleashes those funds, America will go under. It will sink. These junkies will literally sink the country. And that's the truth. The highest level of the administration's response to the crisis has been sluggish, characterized by boastful rhetoric and stagnant funding. Trump has spoken of the government producing really tough, really big, well, it sounds like him, really great advertising, as if a Nancy Reagan just say no approach were adequate to the task of tackling a complex public health scourge. Well, it's a shame you didn't feel that way during the crack epidemic. No one liked that just say no um, slogan Reagan administration came up with. In fact, it was stupid. He said the administration would crack down on the synthetic opioid fentanyl manufactured in China and endeavor to develop non addictive painkillers as an alternative to opioids. But where is the funding? You know what? I think that's kind of foolish, y'all. This is what I'm saying. The pharmaceutical company introduced opioids to the public and they made a big campaign on how it was non addictive. Now you're going to trust the same pharmaceutical company to put out a non addictive painkiller. The same people that cause this drug plague, you're going to trust them to put out a non addictive painkiller. I tell you what, if you do, you're a fool. You're asking for it, as far as I'm concerned. Why would you go back to them? Wow. I'm just saying. Ladies and gentlemen, tell me what you think. I just think they just won't admit they can't beat this thing, y'all. But I think deep down inside, many of them know they can't. You know, it's one thing if you only had thousands of people on the drug, but you're talking millions, millions of people across this country are abusing drugs. You can't control that. You can't. How do you control that? And then you got all these little stipulations. Well, we can't arrest them because we have no evidence. The evidence is in their system. Well, you didn't say that during the crack epidemic. Whether you saw it or not, everybody went to jail. But it's just amazing how the tides have turned in America. Ladies and gentlemen, America will never, ever be the same again. with this drug plague going on. There's no turning back. I really don't believe there's no going back to an era where this was not happening. I just don't think that's ever going to happen. You know, this started climbing in 1990s and we are approaching 2018. This is nearly 20 years of this. So it's not like it's gone on for a few months and it's just a few thousand people. No. How do you can't even control it at this point. Please tell me what you think. Please leave your comment and subscribe, and don't forget to hit on that notification bell. Peace, family.